Bot Collective. We're going to jump into um the angelic magic. Um so there are, I'm gonna say there's 4 spells that I'm gonna teach you. Three, well, one main protective, and then to be able to do this other spell, which would be either to protect yourself or to protect someone who's away from you, it's going to involve 2 other ones. These are literally the most simple, the quickest, and yet the most effective things you can do. It is stronger than the lesser banishing ritual of protection. Um, uh, and truly, if you're going to be doing any work that is calling upon angels, or ancestors or helpful guides, this is stuff just to do. The first one we're going to talk about, and by the way, you can find all these in a book called Angelic Magic, Protection Magic. I've just been called to kind of share this with you all. Not many people know the book, not many people have the book, and let alone not many people have the money for book. Even though you can get the PDF for free online, it's something that not a lot of people have research to, and if it's more accessible to people, then it's better off. The first one we're going to talk about is the body of protection, and this is a ritual that brings the gathering of archangels to create protection from ill will, direct attacks, and misfortune. You can do this as like a daily practice. I usually do. But it's because it's good to set up a barrier of protection for things that you prefer to have and removing things that you don't like to have, right? Um, so it does say here. Reading through it again always before teaching anyone, just clarify things, to point things out. Traditionally, you would want to do this ritual immediately before sunrise and then shortly after sundown. It is not even sunrise where I'm at, so this is why I'm doing it now. Um, but you don't have to follow those. That's just traditionally. You can do it whenever you need. I've done it literally midday, and it's worked wonders. You don't have to wait till night. You don't have to wait till shadow hour, excuse me, or rising. You can do it whenever you truly desire. Um, but this ritual calls on archangels and Dolphin, Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Tskiel, which is also Zadkiel. Um, the different spellings invoke different um, forces, but it's the same angel used for different reasons, right? We have Raziel and then Metatron that we're going to call upon. And how you're going to set this up is very, very simple, okay? So first, what you're going to do is you're going to be either, you can be standing, you can be sitting, you can even be laying down for this one in specific, okay? What you're going to do is imagine a white star of light emanating safety and protection that remains above your head. Okay, it's even higher than your head. It's in the infinity. It's in the highest you can fully imagine. If you can visualize this, good. If you can't, just feel it. And if you can't feel it, know that it is done by the power of your tongue. All right. And what you're going to do is you're going to say, oh, you can even sing it. Sometimes I sing it, sometimes I don't. I will say this before we get into it. When you're singing and while invoking angels, it can call on them sooner, as these angelic beings work within that same resonance as whenever you sing. Um, if you decide not to sing, it's okay. For those that do the LRBP, you'll know that it's like more of a deeper guttural singing that you would do. You can do that same thing for this ritual as well if you wish, but really you don't have to sing it. You can just say it. I'm just gonna say it. You can sing it if you desire to. You can also do this with me. But the only thing you cannot do with this ritual is listen to it and have it protect you. This is something you have to do. This is something you can't do for someone else either. This is simply for you. You can't put this on anyone else. This is to invoke and protect you as the individual, before doing any rituals, either on yourself or, well, any further rituals, because these are lesser rituals, but doing any other ritual on yourself or on anyone else, right? So what you do is go o, e, eh, and you then say Sandalfon, and as you say that, the star drops from infinity into your heart and gives off a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. You can sit there for a few seconds and feel its warmth, or you can immediately go on to the next. However, it's up to you, right? We go to the next angel. Again, imagining a star of white light above your head in the infinite, emanating safety and protection. And you will do this for every angel, but I will reiterate it every time. And you will begin to say, aha, e, eh, ah, e, and say, Gabriel. And then the star will drop from infinity into your heart, emanating a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. You're going to imagine another star, another white star in the infinity, emanating safety and protection, and say, o, e, a, o, and say, Mikael. And again, the star drops from infinity into your heart, giving off a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. You then will do this again, imagining the white star above your head, emanating safety and protection. Say, I, a, o, o, a, and then call the name Raphael. And then the star will drop from infinity into your heart, giving off a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. You are then going to, again, imagine a star of white light above, emanating safety and protection. And this one is a little bit different. This one is simply L, but you don't just say L, you extend it. So this one would be one that if you are just saying it, you would more sing it, and if you are singing it, you would extend your singing. So since we're saying it, we would go L, and then say Tiaskiel, and then imagine the star dropping from infinity into your heart, giving off a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. Imagine another star of white light above into the infinity, emitting safety and protection, and then say Iha Oeh and call on Raziel. And the star will drop from infinity into your heart, giving you that gives off a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. Finally, we are going to imagine one final white light above, emitting safety and protection, and say and call the name Metatron. And the star will drop from infinity into your heart, giving up a brilliant, misty, shadowless light. Bask in this totality of the glow for a few seconds and begin to close your palms. You can close your eyes and close your palms. You can keep your eyes open and close your palms. I forgot to mention this beforehand, but you can even do the ritual with your eyes closed if you remember it. But to close this ritual, you close your palms and the ritual will be over. And once you open your hands, you should be able to feel the presence of the energy flowing more. You'll feel more of a higher presence. So now we're going to move on to these other two spells. Now, these two spells you do not need if you're not worried about anyone else's protection. But for those that are, this is what you're going to be doing. Now, there's something else that you're going to need to be doing as well with these next two rituals. It's going to involve a lot of subconscious programming within the angels and their names, as well as a sigil for the last spell that you're going to have to look at. And then every other spell that you do with this, the next spell for the protection is also going to require you to look at a sigil, right? The reason why you're doing this is to get things implanted into your mind so that you have this internal subconscious barrier and less of an external barrier that's shining from the internal. You're now going to have more of a mental defense, right? So this one is called the circle banishing. And this banishing is used to remove negative energies, strange entities, and to bring an end to supernatural attacks. Use it whenever you suspect you're under attack, disturbance, interference, or when you experience strange feelings, hear noises that you don't like, or have experimented with dangerous magic. And when I say dangerous magic, this does not mean anything of a lower vibrational place, right? Dangerous magic could simply be a spell that you've never done before that you're trying to practice, and you're wanting to lessen back that feedback if you misdo something, right? But I will also tell you, I'm giving you these spells in the exact order that you need to do them. um there's one that requires a different order, and if we ever go over that one, I'll tell you the specific order for that. But for the main part, you would want to go from the body of protection straight to the circle banishing. Now you can also do the circle banishing um, in the risings if you're wanting. You can do it whenever you want. You can do it to start off your day and have triple protection. I used to do that for a month straight, um, and that was a very very beautiful time. Um, but this banishing is very good, especially if you have just moved into a new area or you're wanting a directional sort of protection instead of just an overall. It covers all the directions. Um, but first, what you're wanting to do before you get into this, right? Before you move forward. Excuse me, my brain farted there for a second. So this one is same as the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, right? You're going to be calling upon Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel. In addition, you will be calling on the angels of Yoak, Kalak, Shamrael, and Nurael, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to look at this photo up that I have up. And this is of the angels and their Hebrew names. You're going to glance over them. You don't have to stare at them. What I used to do to really help me get used to them is I would trace each letter with my eye, and then I'd go back over and trace every Hebrew character with my eyes, and I would trace over it like 2 or 3 times to get it together. You could also just stare directly into the center of this and let it all soak in. The main goal of this is to get everything to soak into your subconscious so that you have these symbols, these letterings, these characters um brain like hardwired into yourself, right? They need to be burned within your subconscious so that you're able to do these whenever you desire, whenever you're needing. Not only that, but it's going to help you have a familiarity with these angels by seeing their Hebrewic names. This is going to allow you to have a stronger connection with these angels if and you do decide to call on them for any sort of miniature protection or lesser protection, right? Now, with this one, if you are going to do this one, every few months or years, depending on how often you're doing this ritual, of course, look back at this exact photo, okay? And just let it rewire. Even if you don't do it that much, try to keep it in your mind, every few months. It's going to help you build a stronger connection and really just be a benefit to you, right? So, as you know, this is going to be a directional, okay? And what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to stand up for this ritual, all right? You're going to stand facing north or as close north as you can get, all right? If you're indoors, the more northern wall rather than magnetic will help you for this, okay? This is going to help you remember the 4 primary directions as well as the 4 diagonal directions, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to picture an angel's light whenever you say these names, right? Um, you don't really need much. You can just imagine a white light or brightness. You don't have to picture this with clarity. A light will be sufficient, right? So this is another thing. If you find it difficult to wrap around this concept, don't be preoccupied by it, but know that as soon as you begin the ritual, protection is established, right? Now, when you start this, you have to finish it, okay? If you just say one name or a few of the names, it's not going to work. But this is what you're going to say. You're going to go, you're going to say Raphael, okay? Raphael is going to be positioned in the north. Do not say the direction out loud. You don't need to. When you say Raphael, imagine a white light or Raphael in the angel form, however you wish to do it, a green light, whatever, right? In front of you, in the north of you, I should say, not in front of you, but in the north of you, I should say, right? You're then going to go down and say Gabriel. You stay facing north. You imagine a bright light shining from the south of you, right? I will mention at this point that if from this point on any direction that is behind you or on any sides of you or however, don't just imagine the light being behind you. Try your best if you can to see a shine coming from that area and pushing wherever that direction will be shining. So if it's shining from the south, imagine it from the south shining forward, shining from the back forward in front of you. Okay. You're then going to go Mikael and imagine a light shining from the east. You're going to the same with Uriel, excuse me, from the west. Now you're going to imagine a white light and say Yohak from the northeast. And then you're going to say Kalak from the southwest. Now notice this is the southwest, okay? You're now going to go Nuvrael, right? Nuvrael from the southeast to Shamrael of the northwest. Okay? Only speak the angel name, don't speak the direction, all right? Do not turn your body during this, all right? And after that, you are good. To complete this ritual, though, you need to open your eyes. If they were closed, open them. If they were open, close your eyes for a second and then open them. All right. So you don't have to do this ritual with your eyes closed, but if you can, more power to you. If you can't, just close your eyes and then reopen them. All right. All you're needing to do. This last spell is to safely prepare a magical space for you. All right. This ritual makes you more likely to be seen and known by safe, invited spirits. Um, you don't become so bright that you attract unwanted attention. You only will attract those that you're desiring. This one's called the illumination. All right. So for the illumination, this one is super short, and this one is very effective. All right. It improves not only your connection with spirits, but it can improve your results of anything that you're trying to do. It also may have an effect in making you more aware of the presence of spirits, but this is not always the case, right? To perform this ritual, though, you look at this sigil. Try and look at the negative white space on the inside of the circle. Just stare at it. All right. You can let your eyes wander over the image if you want, sure, but stare at the middle of it. Now, for any of those who are familiar within sigil magic, you know that you should be very aware of what it should look like whenever sigils are activating, the movement that you'll get, the morphing of the image. If you don't and you're not familiar with how to stare at a sigil, what you do is you stare at the negative space or the entirety of the sigil. You'll begin to see the outer circle move you might see the stuff on the inside move, right? The symbols, the Hebraic letters, the square move. You may end up having the image split into two and then try to morph back into one. And if that happens, allow yourself to relax as much as you can to allow the image to be brought back into one. But a lot of people will notice that the image just pops out, the outer ring shaking and vibrating and literally coming out at them. This means that the sigil is being activated. Some people will hear a voice. I do for sure. I hear either my angels that I've called on or my guides who are protecting me, letting me know that things are ready and good. But if you don't, do it whenever you feel as if the energy of that sigil is coursing through you. All right. Now you do this for however long it takes, and just know internally that the protection is building. You can even say to yourself and chant, "The protection is growing. The protection is growing. I am protected." If you need, however, right. But to close this ritual, you say the following words, and these words are formed and created by the central square of the sigil. And these are the words that you're going to say. You're going to say cause awe, mes apes, onges, intahges. And then after that, the ritual is complete. Now, for the illumination, if you do this ritual, this one is to signify an area of magical space. So if you're not doing a ritual after this, whether that ritual is for yourself or someone else, there's no need to do this one, right? What you would only do, but the only two you need to really do are the circle banishing and the body of protection, right? You don't need to do the illumination every day unless you're doing some form of spell work for yourself every day, right? So we're gonna do a shield against magic, right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the circle banishing first, right? This is the one that I'm so funny that we mentioned that. Well, this is the one that we're doing. Anyway, you do circle banishing first if you're going to do a shield against magic, right? This one just lessens the intensity applied willpower in someone who is using magic against you, not the spirits, right? It shields you from magic, making one who propels magic towards you less effective. But if someone is doing magic on you for your benefit, this will also stop that magic as well. It's simply just to remove the external forces if and you are someone under that effect. So be very aware of that, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to again observe this sigil and just stare at it at the negative space. However, you'll see that it has two rings, inner and outer. A lot of people who make sigils notice that when you have two rings, it brings in more focus, which then allows you to have more energy within what you're desiring, right? So allow if you become more aware of the darker circles than the lighter circles, that's good. That means whatever is happening in the sigil is ingraining into your subconscious, right? After a minute or so of you staring into the sigil, know that you wish to shield yourself against unwanted magic, and know that the shield is in place. Okay. If you are doing this for someone else, you still need to do the circle banishing, the body protection, and illumination, right? But instead of knowing that the shield is in place for you, know that the shield is in place for someone else. Okay? Now, to end this ritual, what you need to say is Zeha Re'ehron, Nafshe Revron, I O E in Ah Galah, right? After you say those, close your eyes briefly and then open them. The ritual will be complete. Do this ritual once each day at any time for 3 consecutive days for this to be at its max potential, right? There is no need to repeat this process unless you suspect that additional ritual has been charged against you. Okay? But this has just been a little bit of protection magic. Notice it's only took like what 26 minutes for this entire video, and these are some very powerful spells and some very powerful invokers to use. Um, Regardless, I love each and every one of you all to the moon and back tenfold and forever. I hope that this has become benefit of you. I hope that you decide to use these things and to move forward with them, and actually open your eyes to the truth of the matter and depend on entities and angels and spirits that could actually truly help you move forward rather than being stuck in a dogmatic way of life. um Regardless, I love you all so much to the moon and back tenfold and forever, and I will see you all later.